I promised that I would talk about pathological demand avoidance in combination with my situation. My situation came about as a result of of course, a combination of circumstances. The main immediate factor was horrific gerontophobia and povertyism. I had been pestered with a lot of abuse before, been pestered a lot, let's put it that way, and I wasn't willing to put up with more abuse. Being 55 or over doesn't mean that you have dementia, period. It doesn't mean that you should give up on life. It doesn't mean that you have to prepare for your death, period. Anyway, I thought back in September, October that I would have resolved the situation by the end of November. That wasn't the case, and then somebody else stepped up who wanted to help me and also was stuck in a situation that he wanted some help with. But that person is slightly autistic, and he had been emailing me about a place that I should go to that was in a small municipality south of Amsterdam. He kept telling me about it, but he kept not sending me a link, which struck me as a little odd. And then later, as I was actually staying on his couch, he still continued to keep sending me this information and telling other people that I was refusing to go there. And when he told me that again, and he was standing next to me, I told him, "Give me your phone. I want to see what you're talking about, because I can't find it. I've been looking everywhere." And then it turned out it was a search result. It wasn't an actual link. And it said very clearly that it was in a big city in the center of the country, absolutely nowhere near where we were. I didn't know that at the time, but that's pathological demand avoidance, which can happen when people are slightly autistic. When they don't know how to resolve something, they, I don't know, make really strange jumps in their mind that make absolutely no sense to anyone else. I don't know whether it makes sense to themselves. I have no idea. He had even said this wasn't free, this facility. He had even offered to pay me to go there. But according to him, it was right there where we were. It definitely wasn't. It was, again, in the city, in the center of the country. And I'm still baffled by that. There was something else, too, that he told me. And I was also complete hogwash, and the evidence of that was sitting right there in front of him. And when that became clear to me, I found it very unsettling. I found it very unsettling because I didn't know what it meant. I discovered pathological demand avoidance, and that it often happens with people who are slightly autistic later, when they feel overwhelmed with demands and want, they say, autonomy. I don't know whether it's got something to do with autonomy. I think it has to do with feeling overwhelmed. It goes from apparently people doing the dishes, and then somebody else telling them, "Can you please do the dishes?" and then they suddenly refusing to do the dishes. That sort of thing seems to be pathological demand avoidance. I had never heard of it. I'd noticed it in him before, and again had no idea what to make of it. He kept telling me that he kept driving the wrong way. This is somebody who has had navigation as part of his profession for decades, so that's very strange. And one evening I was in his car, and he kept taking the wrong exits. He kept driving the wrong way. Didn't want any input from me. No, 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 no. He knew where he was going. He was going to resolve this himself. Then, on the way back, he suddenly yanked the wheel to the left, very deliberately driving in the clearly marked wrong direction. And I realized this had nothing to do with cognitive decline or something like that. This was something totally different. And now I know that that is pathological demand avoidance. He felt overwhelmed. He was already feeling overwhelmed because of the situation that he was in, and he had hoped that I would help him with that. But I was in no situation, no circumstances, no position to be able to help him with that. I was in a position that I needed support myself, practical support mostly. And he was totally not able to support me in any way, very clearly. He kept sending me to these things that just didn't exist because, let's face it, people, there is almost no support. I went online several times, and all you can find is basically support for people who have drug addiction issues or alcoholism issues. There's nothing for regular people. And the support that there is extremely limited. And when Mayor Femke Halsema gets angry, apparently, when people in this sort of situation say, we'll start something ourselves and we'll start it in Vondelpark because at least that's a fairly central location. It's not on the outskirts of the city where that most people have trouble reaching. That's sad. I've said more about it. I've written more about it. That what's going on here is a horrible example of povertyism, basically. And to come back to pathological demand avoidance, yeah, it's not specific for autism, I understand, but it's really baffling to witness because you have no idea what it's about. And I now say this is because people get overwhelmed. I've noticed also in two slightly autistic older adults now that apparently they have increasingly trouble managing their life. Their house becomes really messy. They don't want to clean. They don't want to do this. They don't want to do that. They just feel completely overwhelmed and they want somebody else to reassure them and take care of it. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I apologize to the person I upset so horribly. I had no idea of this. I vastly underestimated the impact that even mild autism has on autistic individuals. I vastly underestimated that. I thought it was just a matter of being slightly different, more playful in many ways. It's not that simple. But then again, I'd always said I knew nothing about autism and I didn't know anyone who was autistic, and then discovered that I had known two slightly autistic people for over 4 decades. So, yeah, there you go. They fit in so well that we have absolutely no idea, we non autistic people, because autistic people are masters, can be mastered at masking autism. But that draws a lot of energy. It really drains their energy, and it means that they have very little brain power left, I suppose, for other issues, for other matters, for other areas of attention. It's fascinating, and it's intriguing, and it's very challenging. I realize now, and it's got nothing to do with homelessness. No, I know, not in itself.